If you're a heat and air conditioning technician or even a salesperson, how do you alleviate stress in your life and why does this matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento. All right, so here's a thought that I want to share with you of a way that I see things, right? This is like my belief, and I want to tell you this from the very beginning. And it comes from me coaching and training, not just technicians and salespeople, but entrepreneurs. There's things in your life that irritate you. There's things in my life that irritate me. And so one of the things that we have is mental real estate. Mental real estate is what you think about during the day and what goes on during the day and how much room, how much bandwidth that pulls from you. Hey, Scott, what does that have to do with me being in sales or being in business or me working on stuff? Look, everything. There's a lot of different thoughts that go to this. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's Tony Robbins. What you think about all day long is what you get. William James said some version of that. Ralph Waldo Emerson said another version of it. There's all sorts of like, whatever you're focusing on you're going to get more of. And so one of the things that I see salespeople, entrepreneurs, people just get caught up in is having to be right and having to have the last word. Now, you're watching one of my videos right now, and I have a couple of videos that people don't always agree with, that there's tons of comments where people, Scott, you are wrong, you suck. And like, sometimes my brain goes, I'm going to argue this point, and then I realize, wait a minute, if I argue this point, it's going to take up mental bandwidth. So if you look at some of my replies, I don't fight against it. I don't tell people that they're wrong 99% of the time, except for the guy who thinks that a system's $4,500 still, right? That's the one thing in my mind. I'm like, you're bonkers, you're nuts, you're out of your mind. It just isn't that way anymore. So what I'll respond with is, hey, thanks for the comment. And then I just move on with my life. Let them be mad. Let them be angry. Let them get all upset about what's going on. And then that way you can move on too. And your mental bandwidth isn't sucked into some craziness conversation that you are not going to win. And this right here is why you should join my email publication. I'll give you the goods. Not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel, which means private coaching, private training, discounted coaching, or discounted training. So here's what happens. I've seen too many salespeople, entrepreneurs, and others get sucked into, I have to be right. So you're driving down the road, your phone rings, you pick it up, it's a friend, it's a salesperson, it's an entrepreneur, and they're like, hey, Scott, you'll never believe what just happened to me. And you're like, okay. Did aliens come from the sky and try to abduct you? Nope. Did somebody try to kidnap you in traffic? Nope. And then they go on this whole 10-minute rant about all these problems and issues. And you're like, huh, you just updating me? You're telling me all these things that are going on? I don't necessarily know what I'm supposed to do with it. And then they drop that off on you and their problems, their pressures are alleviated. And now you're stuck thinking about it. The same thing happens is when you argue with people where there's no point in winning. Okay. I'll give you my example. The guy that argues and thinks that a heating and air unit is still $4,500 will go out and search and spend his retirement looking for somebody who will do it faster, cheaper, and less, and no price is too low. I'm not going to argue with that guy. You shouldn't argue with that guy either. He's not your client, right? I'm not going to argue with the client who comes to me and says, I want you to solve my business problem, and I'm going to give you a skinny amount of money to make that happen. I'm like, that's not my bandwidth, right? So you need to understand who your ideal client profile is. Who should you do business and who should you not, right? Your company has a bottom line of like, this is as low as we can go. We don't go past that. There is a point where you have profit, you have break even, and you have a loss. And you're going to find a lot of business owners are going to say, I know where my profit margin is. I know where my break even is. I know where my loss is. And occasionally, depending upon the time of the year, a company may do a job at a loss to keep crews busy. That's their prerogative. That's what they do. Okay. Construction does this a lot, but even in goods, e-commerce, like there's metrics when it comes to marketing. You have to know that there are people who are and are not your client, and the person who's not your client, don't argue with them. Let them go on with their life. You go on with your life and go find somebody who's supposed to do business with you. Now, I will share with you one frustrating thing. When this person shows up in your life, they come in multiples. It will be some dude over here and some chick over there, and it'll happen in the space of 72 hours, and you're going to be like, what just happened? Am I in the Twilight Zone? Like, all of a sudden, I just got rained on of all of this weirdness, well, you know what? That was the cycle that you were in. It happens. But you know what happens too? There's going to be a point where you get into a bunch of deals and they all close and they're all one sit calls or they're all one deals where it just magic happened. It's just your time. It's just your time. Don't get caught up in the drama. You don't need to. Don't argue with people who aren't your clients. If that person's never going to give you money and they're never going to do business with you, let them argue with your competition. Let them suck up their time. Let them take up all of the effort that they're going to have to do, right? Walk away just knowing at least I don't have to deal with them. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here. Just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.